We're about to kick off another, this time it's a group video review, medieval combat video review. This is me, way back in the day, Avery, on the right there. And on the left, I believe, is Master Nial. And if I remember correctly, he beats me quite soundly. So this, I think, is the finals of Lionhearts tournament up in Madrone, like 2009-ish. And if we go around the room and introduce ourselves, so I'm Sir Avery, the dude on the right.
I'm Sir Baird. I'm not on this video.
Sir not appearing in this.
Bjorn Zenfir.
Lynn.
Andrew Fairfax.
All right, so let's give this a go. And this is sort of our warm-up. So we're picking an old video from a couple guys who have hopefully have gotten better. Baird's shaking his head like, no. So to give people context, this is SCA combat. One solid blow to the head or body wins the fight. If it's on edge, a blow to the arm or leg that's sufficiently hard disables the arm or leg. And I think this is 3 back-to-back fights. Best 2 out of 3 wins the championship. So we'll go through pretty quick. Both right-handed guys using heater shields. So maybe we'll go through the first couple exchanges. Oh, so there's a question, did that hit hard enough? I didn't think so. Nial's like, no, that definitely didn't, but I felt it, so we're just checking that out. You can tell there's a lot of animosity here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really nice. Because he threw up and then it came out on the leg.
I thought that was quite mean, actually. Okay, so let's
nice how he threw that.
Let's take a look at that, though. So that obviously was a fake, right?
Yeah.
So and I obviously bid on it. So we rewound, and we'll go forward a little at a time, and we'll break apart the body mechanics that Nial's using. So I think some of the bobbling of his hand and shield is there to mask his movement, right? So he's moving the hand and shield around a lot. I don't think he's doing that because he's itchy. He's doing that to mask his opener, right?
If you raise your shield, you raise your sword, it'll bring other people's sword and shield up. That's just what happened. It is.
Yeah.
He's bobbing it up, showing you, hey, I'm going high, so that you're thinking, oh, I'm going to watch out for that.
Right, and he's been sort of bobbling it around for a few seconds there, right? So he's also got a hand forward sort of boxer style with his sword, right? So his shield is, pretty similar to mine, similar height, a little wider. And if I were him, I would be looking at that opening right here, and it looks like he is as well, right? So he steps in. Look at that big cell. We're going to move forward. Look, he steps in with that right leg.
Raises that hand up.
Raises the hand up. It's looking like an offside. No, it's looking like an onside. Right, and if you look, the hand.
You had a really nice offside block. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, no,
it's very nice.
I like to think I don't bite on those quite as hard anymore, but we'll see. Sir Baird's going to be throwing that the next time we fight. So you can see I make the wrong response in a lot of ways. One, I don't move my legs at all. Well, I guess I move that back leg a little bit, but it doesn't get any targets out of the way, right? And I also, look at how far I pump that shield up.
Yeah, it's too far.
And I'm blocking 100% with the shield, and I'm not blocking with the sword at all.
And can you see anything?
At that point, I can't.
Yeah.
Right, or maybe I can see his feet most likely, but I can't see his sword, right?
He can do anything he wants with that sword. You can't even see it.
That's right.
No.
Yeah. So obviously a bit on that fake huge, right? And let's take one more look at what it probably, if we could spin this around and see it from my eyes at this point. Right now, a lot of his sword is hidden behind his shield, but I can probably see a bit of the basket protecting his hand. I can see his elbow maybe. So as he steps up, and you notice it's not a huge fake, right? It's not like he's really cartoonishly exaggerated. But what he's done, and he might have even thrown an eye feint in there too, for all I know, right? Like a lot of guys will stare at their target. So he might have looked at, the left side of my head very pointedly and then thrown at the right leg, right? Who knows? But I definitely bid on it, and, that comes in really good orientation. I don't know. I guess he might have been able to throw it higher and get the body, but he should have no reason to expect I would move my shield out of the way that far. So obviously,
Probably was going for your.
I also like how he uses his knees to get more strength behind that blow too. I mean, when he goes down, he's moving down using his legs to propel. See how he uses his legs?
Yeah, he's dropping down,
and he does a gather step as well. Like he brings that back foot forward with it. So, all right. So that's obviously a great shot. I think if I want to play it at speed. Yeah, nice. So we fight on. He's making sure that I'm not faced into the sun because he's a nice guy. Nothing much here to break down. Oops.
Oh, you got reached around
So
back.
I was kind of bobbling with the screen a little bit, but this is pretty simple. He stepped in. The point of his shield at this point, you can see that the corner of his shield's angled this way a little bit, of course, in front of him. So it's tipping away from that back leg. From my perspective, I'm waiting for him to rush in. A lot of guys, when fighting someone on their knees, which is a SCA peculiarity that you fight people on their knees, but when fighting someone on their knees, often people will like take a big step in, and he didn't move his shield back, so his butt's open to the rack.
You also use your shield to trap his shield so he can't move it back into spot.
A little bit, yeah.
He can tell that. You could tell he knows what's going to happen. Because you see how his butt moves out of the way. He's trying to move out of the way. He's like, oh no! He's coming!
It is pretty tough to armor the butt, yeah. And that's the sort of shot that, in my particular night, would make him proud, because he's all about the butt wraps. So, anyway, at this point, now we're both fighting from our knees, which is definitely an SCA peculiarity.
And why is his shield so... Oh, okay.
We're wrestling at this point, right? So, and he's...
Oh, you got your...
Yeah, he's hit me in the arm, right? So, I've got... Actually, my elbow's not out that far. It's kind of hard to tell. It's sticking out enough.
Yeah.
Just enough. Oh, yeah, and it looks like my shield's over.
Your shield
Yeah, his shield came
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
And you can tell he doesn't throw the shot hard if we go forward.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, he was probably being nice too, so throw the shield away, let's keep fighting. So now at this point, I'm in a bit of trouble. So let's see how this fight works out. Anyone want to take bets? Yeah. Block, block, block. I'm not going to be able to keep it up for long. Yeah, and there it is.
Yeah.
All right, so reset. He's got one fight.
Kept it up a hell of a lot longer.
You did touch his head a few times on... if we go back, and during the past, you kind of touched a few times on him. I would like to see...
Sure.
When they're legged, when they're both legged at the same time.
No, they both touched on that time, but there was a... Before you were legged,
Okay.
before you lost your arm, and you were doing the pass, like before you got... oh gosh, where was that?
You mean at the very beginning of the fight?
Yeah, because there aren't many
Yeah.
shots between
Yeah, not...
when
Right
you
about
started
here?
the fight and when you got legged. I
No,
think there's
not
only one or
there.
two.
Okay, I don't know.
Because you can see
There-
that one's a clean, like,
yeah, play it through. Just go ahead and just
Okay.
press play and let's watch. I'll see if I can.
okay, we'll go through.
Yeah. That's mostly shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think he actually got that one clean, but it was literally just a flick of the hand.
Wow. Well done.
That's why you hit your leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I think on this pass you're gonna touch a little bit.
No. Sword, shield, shield. Or shield, sword, shield.
Okay,
There's
that
that
was all
one.
but.
Okay, so we dropped this into slow-mo. So there I'm trying to wrestle his shield away. He tries for the slot moulinet. A couple wraps.
Okay, that
Snap.
was shield. Okay. I thought that was a headshot.
The other thing about the way that he's got his
section I thought I saw too, where I was like, I thought it might
He's
be
twisted
something.
way to the side on you, which is interesting.
well, he's also got his shield strapped unusually. If you look, his hand is almost horizontal across the back, so he's got a lot of point on that shield sticking up. Not a lot of people,
He also
set the
has
shields that way.
kind of a newbie helm. I mean, that would be kind of like.
This was back in 2009, though. This is a good on-tier helm.
I mean, it just looked it's like a bullet helm, you know.
Yeah.
And those ring and
We're
they're
those and we're looking for
uncomfortable.
the we're looking for the.
Oh yeah, they make a ton of noise. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're like a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I used to have a helmet almost like that.
So this pass real quick. I don't think there's a lot there, right? So this is a case where I think at this point I've already started copying Davin by strapping my shield really loose. So my shield's got a little bit more ability than a lot of heaters, and you can tell right here he's winding up for an offside shot, which is a shot that hits the the right side of my body. It would come in on the left side for him. So he's wound up for that offside. He's really hunting for it, and you see that really strong angle. What he's done, he's corked up so they can go like wha-pow. So that's.
But can you
He
see
even
that from
actually
where
makes that
you
noise.
are?
I think I can because so yeah, Hadouken.
Because he's got it behind his shield some.
I read this super clear because he's done this thing here. He's leaned his head to the left.
Gotcha.
So he's leaned his head so that he can make room for his sword to throw the offside.
Gotcha.
And that to me is a dead giveaway, especially if I see the bottom of someone's sword coming over the top of their shield, and I see their head leaned over. To me, that means they're corked up and they're going to try to. They're just going to start throwing offsides. That's my tell. And there's one, and the good news about that shot is you can just throw another. There's another. He wants to throw a third. I've thrown right into his defense trying to time it, but I haven't. So I throw right into his sword as it's recovering. I'm trying to throw in between his shots. Now he throws the leg shot, get the shield down,
Yeah.
and we continue. And I think at one point in there I said he tagged me in the elbow, but super light, like it was incidental contact. So I throw the easily read low shot, but have faked him out.
Interesting, yeah.
I don't quite understand watching
that.
it slow why he moved his shield out of the way.
He's like, okay, go ahead and hit it. I have a block.
think-
No.
Well, and then you can run and whack him on the...
So let's take a look at speed, and then we'll take a look in slow-mo.
Okay.
I know what it was. Okay, so I threw... This is actually a good shot for me. So I throw this a fair bit. What I did... When I'm manually controlling the speed, you sort of lose this a little bit. But I threw a little pop with my right hand, and that got his shield moving, and I put just a little bit of a pause before throwing that leg shot. So his shield's moving, it stops moving, it recovers, and now I'm throwing an off-time shot, and people have real trouble reading it. So it looks like I just throw straight for the leg, but if you watch, the
You're
hand in this space,
pause in there.
there's a little off-tempo to it, and that's why his shield ends up moving out of position, and that worked really well for me a lot. So I'll put it on slow motion, and then after that, I just follow up with an offside to the head. I think what's happening, this is a mistake I've made many times, I think he's dropping to his knees without continuing to fight. He probably thinks, I'm going to stop the fight, give him time to kneel, but I'm in the middle of a combo, and you're allowed to finish what you're doing. So I think that's probably why he leaves his head open. So we're in slow motion now. Pop, little tiny pause,
You also go down before the shot even goes. You
little lean to it, yeah.
Crouch and then throw it, so he hasn't felt the contact yet, so he kind of freaks out and goes, "Oh, that must not be where it's going," and pulls back.
Exactly, right? And then, meanwhile, as I get that leg shot and start throwing the offside, he's corked for his offside. And I think this is a beautiful shot. I can't believe this lands with power. But if you look, he follows the edge of my shield perfectly, and still
misses.
hits. It looks like it misses, but I think
it hits inside thigh.
I think it hits the back leg. I don't know. If it's the inside thigh, it might skip. But it hits something anyway, and I took it. It's either the back leg or the inside thigh, one or the other. So I'm taking the leg shot, but he's lost his leg in his head.
Yeah. That is a bad trick.
Bad trick.
So now, I think I already mentioned I'd lose this tournament, so I think we know how the third fight goes.
He's a little bitty fella.
I'm trying to remember. I'd say he's probably 5'10". I don't know.
Maybe $150 wet.
I think the big helm sort of throws that a little bit. If we take a look at these two, I actually see stuff I still do all the time. So this is what I should have done in the first pass when he hit me in the leg. He throws a feint to that side, and I've left the leg open, but now I'm starting to pull the shield back, and I'm hanging the sword as a block as well. So I'm not moving the shield to block my head. I'm using the sword to block my head, and I'm ready. I'm leaned way back, which is not great. But if he throws for the leg, I can block with a shield, and what I'm hoping...
And you can see.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, that's true.
And what I'm looking for is this slot. I'm trying to throw into that gap. Now I miss, or he closes the gap because he's sidestepping at the time.
Because just caught the corner of the top of the shield and deflected it.
Yeah, so he's gotten out of the way, but I've blocked the leg shot, right? And then the next pass here, there he is. You can see.
Corking again.
You can really see that particular offside develop here, though. I think honestly, there's a few things I would do a little different, but I think from behind you can see almost the perfect way to throw this offside shot, right? You can see him develop. drop the tip down. At this point, all the ligaments and tendons in his arm are all wound up, and the tip isn't actually straight down. It's actually cranked over a little bit. And then the thing is just going to shapow up that line, right? So you can see him really develop the power on that. Then he gets his head out of the way and throws it. Now, I've been able to punch the shield over.
He's almost matrixing there.
He is. This is where I wish I could see this, like, and just slam right there. Because that would be such a dramatic kill. But I don't think I could even get the sword there if I wanted. So I'm instead going for the deep wrap, which is a bad decision because he can move that shield really far. And after the wrap, I don't have a great recovery. So the other thing is, he doesn't let me get a good bounce off the shield. He sort of soaks up that shot with the bottom of the shield, so I don't get a good bounce that I can throw a follow-up with. He sort of plays sticky hand with it a little bit.
Or at least even recover it quickly, you know?
Yeah, so
you're
he's
sitting there sliding down the thing the whole time.
like, I definitely didn't hit it hard enough to table the shield up like that, so I think he's intentionally maintaining contact, right? And then he throws, I think this one probably came low, or...
So he hit you in the knee.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah, lower thrusting tip, I don't know.
Like just above the knee, maybe.
I told him it's no good, and he agreed. So he's trying to get that really light, tippy offside shot. Three of those. So this is interesting. So there's a rule that says if your opponent hits you at the same time as they drop their weapon, you don't need to take the shot. I don't like that rule.
I think if it's a significant force, then...
If it hits hard enough, it hits hard enough, whether they drop it or not. If
They
it doesn't...
They just lost their sword. So.
If it doesn't hit hard enough, maybe it's because they dropped their sword. But if it does, I still take the shot. So I hit him in the head, but not hard enough. He hits me in the leg with an offside standing.
Yeah.
With his hand high. So it's like a really deep angle. So I don't think I'm expecting it to hit me in the thigh. Or the hip.
Boy, he is really twisted.
Yeah, and the downside to that is that it leaves his head open. Unfortunately, I don't hit him hard enough for it to be a good enough shot. So I throw the wrap and I get it on edge.
It's also right on the tip of his helmet.
Yeah,
right on the
wow.
crest.
Yeah.
Like
It's really hard to feel that too.
Yeah, that might have been it. Maybe it was hard enough, but nobody can feel it right to the point.
Well,
if it had been
actually,
there
the
or
point
there,
dissipates power throughout the
whole
helm.
thing,
So
yeah.
you can't. You probably felt like it was not hard enough because when you throw and it hits that tip, you skip right off, or it just it alleviates all the power on your hand as well as on his head. So.
Yeah. Well, regardless, so he's dropped the sword. I think it's hit me in the leg. The other thing, I'm wearing plate legs, so if it makes a good noise and moves the armor, you take it. So now, for folks who don't fight in the SCA, if someone doesn't have a weapon and it's a one-on-one fight, you generally let your opponent recover. Right? They're not defenseless, but they can't attack you, and it doesn't prove that you won the fight if you cream someone who doesn't have a weapon. So let him get the weapon back. And here we go. Eventually.
He's got to figure out how am I going to approach this. Okay.
Now, in this case, I've chosen to go sword leg back because I'm hoping he's going to step in on me. He tagged me in the arm with that, drop shot or in the body, but neither of us think it really landed. Mm-hmm. So there's the silliness of the SEA. You are allowed to stand up on one foot like that, even if your leg is dead, because you're not standing. It's a thing you're allowed. So there you go. That is a quintessential. This is a quintessential on-tier shot, circa 2009, and you can see he actually delivers a lot. He's able to build the power. I think I saw him take a little bit of a half step forward, and his sword travels a pretty good distance. Like, it travels from here to here, right? It's not a hard offside like the one where he was corking up earlier, but it's also not just a flick. So people called these flicks. I don't think they were, and I was pretty comfortable telling someone that was just a flick and not taking the shot. I think this actually did hit hard enough, so this is what it looks like, in my opinion, if you get the mechanic right. So it comes in really fast. I don't get the shield point up enough.
He's using his feet and his hips to deliver the power too.
Yeah, and you can see he sticks his butt out, which drops a lot of power. Like when you yank your butt back, that generates power.
He has his shoulder. There's lots of different things.
The whole thing is sending the force
Yeah,
in that direction.
so it is sort of like a cross punch or like a stiff jab with a bit of rotation or something. I don't know, but if you get it right, it hits hard enough, right? So it absolutely did. Since that time, I've learned, block with the sword. That sort of thing. Like I am counting on ducking and lifting the shield faster than he can push that jab in, and I can't. And there's a chance, I don't think so, but there's a chance that hits you in the face. If it hits you in the face, you definitely should be taking it. So that's a fight. And then let's do quickly, just because we're such good friends. Aww.
Aww.
Wow.
You're going to draw that around the Marshall.
Yeah.